What's up, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to give you guys a very quick update about the markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposits $2,000, and you're guaranteed 30, not to mention 8.1% APY on invested cash. Anyways, as far as NIO is going, I just want to mention we got this nice double bottom like structure. We have this gap to fill above, so there's a good chance we do see some kind of like push for that. But just know that next week is going to be crazy. NIO is getting lots of praise for their ET5, and that's getting a lot of exposure right now as it's designed for those frozen tundras, very different environments. I think that's very good because it's going to be useful in the European environments. But then when it comes to the markets, we did see a very nice bounce today. We saw Nvda, big tech bouncing and everything like that. NIO is in the red, but there is still potential to bounce depending on some factors. So I will talk more about this in just a couple of minutes. I will talk about NIO as well. This is what the earnings calendar looks like. We have lots of retail from Best Buy to Foot Locker to Costco for next week. In terms of the economic calendar, just note that for Monday, we have very important manufacturing numbers coming out, especially as we're starting the next month. And then after that, Tuesday is very quiet. Wednesdays when we have some ISM services data. Thursdays when we have more data coming out, we have like the Fed. And then Fridays when we're going to have some manufacturing numbers, governmental payrolls, and etc. So that's what we're seeing, at least thus far. Please keep that in mind. The fear and greed index is currently at extreme fear, so just keep that in mind as well. We'll have to see what that leads to. And then for next week, there are some big dates to remember. So Donald Trump, I want to clarify this about his tariffs. He delayed his tariffs to April 2nd on February 26th, but a day later, on February 27th, so yesterday, Donald Trump actually said no. Instead, he's going to be imposing the tariffs on March 4th. So as of right now, the latest update is that on March 4th, we're going to see the Canadian-Mexican tariffs. That's what Donald Trump is saying, so just keep that in mind. That's what the market saw a big dump. It was trying to bounce today despite that. For next week, on top of all the data that's coming out, March 4th is when we should be having the tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Then going down here, we also have potentially more tariffs on China coming out soon. He did announce additional 10% tariffs very soon. That could also affect us, so we'll see how that ends up going. Donald Trump did mention that on Thursday that there could be another 10% additional tariff on China going in effect on March 4th. And then on March 12th, we have the steel and aluminum tariffs coming out. And then April's when we have even more. So it's going to be a very volatile time with all these tariffs coming out. We'll see how this affects the markets. So please keep that in mind. But that's going to be very important for what the market's going to be doing. On top of this, I just want to mention that there's a lot of changes right now. Global Data has been talking about how the EU tariffs could be imposed very soon. It's going to be affecting a lot of different products, from mechanical appliances to pharmaceuticals, and the list goes on. So please keep that in mind. On top of this, there's been more talk about how China is going to be looking to see additional tariffs that could also affect us. The EU is going to be impacted, and many other countries are going to be waiting for those. So that's what's going on for next week. It is very tricky to predict this to some extent because of how, the tariffs could be all over the place. I do expect NIO to bounce next week, though, to hit 4.8 again, then potentially $5. As far as SPYs going, there's no guarantee the downside move is done if we just kind of throw these lines away and just look at the charts. I think that we could go a little higher. If we break 594, we might see a temporary push, but there's no guarantee the move is going to last because we could still get a rejection here and start coming back down towards lower levels. So yes, we could push a little bit higher for like 599 or so, but even if we try to push higher, this is going to likely make a lower high, and there's going to be another move to the downside coming. I don't think we're out of the downside channel yet, especially because of Trump's tariffs. I think we could push higher on the QQQ for about 513 next week. A little bit more upside could be coming. But we want to be very careful to see if we get a rejection. The Russell could be hitting 216 to 218. ES could be pumping towards 6,000. If we break 59.50, we're looking for 59.80, then 6,000 as targets. So we'll see what kind of reaction we get. NQ has 21,000. Eventually, this next imbalance around 21,300 as our resistances. And we'll see what kind of reaction we get. For Bitcoin, we're looking for a pump here. We're looking for essentially 85,266. If that breaks, we're looking for a bigger push, and we'll once again see what kind of reaction we get. Nvidia is trying to rebound here. We're looking for essentially 127 as our target. We'll see what that leads to, at least moving forward. Tesla should be pushing towards 302, and we'll see if we get a rejection as well. We also have this trend line very close to that, so it's going to be a tough resistance we're going to be testing. Might see a bit more upside, but be careful, guys. Tesla's not in the clear quite yet. Apple is trying to push higher. We're trying to break resistance right here. If this breaks, we're looking for 244 as potential targets. We might attempt to do that, especially as we have a nice accumulation. We're also making higher lows here, so that's a good sign that Apple's going to try to bounce a little bit more. But we'll see if this trend line holds. This is going to be very, very important for Apple, at least for the time being. We might try to push higher, retest the trend line, just continue to uptrend for now. If we lose this trend line, we're looking for a bigger tip, but that's what I'm watching for, at least for the time being. AMD could try to get back up to about 104, and we'll see if it rejects or not off of that. Coin might try to retest 220, and we'll see what kind of reaction we get as well. I do anticipate a little bit more upside for Bitcoin as well. Amazon's going to be looking for 213.8 and eventually 215 is our targets, and we'll see if we get some kind of rejection move. Meta is going to be looking for 671 to eventually 683. Microsoft is looking for 399 to about 400 as potential targets. And then Google could be looking for 175 as we see somewhat of a bounce. So we'll see how it goes. The VIX is starting to reject here off a bearish divergence. We're watching support at 19.2, and if that fails us, we could dip a little bit more on the VIX as the market tries to go a little bit higher. But then there might be another rug pull coming with Donald Trump's tariffs. This is just a temporary move up. We might go a little higher, but I do want to warn you to be very, very careful. Despite that, NIO is showing some strength, so we might be looking for consolidation and eventually move back up to about 4.8. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, guys, and just know that we have some very, very important updates coming out. Don't forget that, at least for the earnings calendar, we have all these earnings that are coming out very, very soon. I do think NIO is going to have earnings very, very soon as well, so get ready for all of that. Anyways, have a good one, guys. I'll see you guys in my next upload. I'll be back hopefully on Sunday. Until then, have a good one and peace out.